Now, this week, we have a pretty interesting list of new Nintendo Switch games. And the good news is it's not as crazy long as last week's. There's also, I would say, no major game releases this week. That is going to be reserved for the first week of November. Now, we are dipping our toes into November on this list, but I'm talking about really the first full week of November is going to have some big releases. But I still think there are a ton of interesting games for this week. Our first game is releasing on October 28th, so it's already out today as we're recording this. And it is Vengeance Hunters. Now, I do have a few reservations about this game, so I would still recommend waiting for a review. But it is a 2D beat 'em up, and visually, I am super interested by this game. Basically, we're going to take a look at the trailer because the little blurb down below really doesn't tell us much about the game. It only says Vengeance Hunters has an old school look and flair, while also using newer gameplay design methodology. Expect hard-hitting moves, ground combos, air combos, OTG combos, combo extensions, I think there's an O missing there, and a free-form co-op experience that is focused on producing a fun time for players as opposed to simply trying to remove as many quarters from your pocket as possible. Vengeance Hunters is coming to Nintendo Switch, Sony PS4 and PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and Steam. And I've got to say, visually, I love the visuals here of the game. I'm just hoping the gameplay keeps up with the visuals. So let's take a look at Vengeance Hunters, and then we'll discuss what I didn't like about the trailer. And just to take as little real estate as possible, we're going to make myself all nice and small in the corner. So let's take a look. The game I find has a really 90s arcade feel to it. Like big chunky characters, limited playfield, like almost like the X-Men beat 'em up. And I love the fact that they throw in these alternate levels here, like shoot 'em up levels and like riding levels. So this game came out today. I'm pretty sure this is a Brazilian studio, if I'm not mistaken. But honestly, I'm finding that it has a ton of potential here. The visuals are really on point. I love the enemy design, especially a lot of the bosses here have really cool enemy designs. I've got to say, I like the three characters. The female characters maybe like this boss here looks really freaking cool. Like, this maybe not the best shot of him, but where he's in, like, his attack face is a little better. But I can't get it. I can't get the still of that one. Here, this alien boss looks freaking cool. The female character is maybe my least interesting of the three designs. I really like the robot's design. I really like the male character's design. The whole thing is, does the gameplay come together? Does it run well on Switch? Well, that is going to be one of the definite questions we're going to have to answer. But I do think the game has a ton of potential here. So hopefully hopefully I'll be able to try it out pretty soon. I do plan on picking it up this week. I just want to make sure I have a hole to play it, because obviously if I don't have a hole to play it, I'm not going to pick it up, because maybe I'll be lucky to it's going to get on sale. But this is Vengeance Hunters, releasing on October 28th, and it sells for $19.99. Now, it is a little bit expensive for an unknown beat 'em up, but it's not overly expensive either. Like, a lot of unknown beat 'em ups have launched at $30 and been very successful. This is not a known IP, it's a brand new IP, so they're going to have to be careful. So I do think that it's a decent price, but I think they would have done better at $15. If I was like doing marketing for them, I would say, let's say I'm at 15. Let's get the game out there and you know, like, take it from there. But Vengeance Hunters, October 28th. If you're a beat 'em up fan, maybe wait for a review, but I think there is some high potential. Next, we have a game that I already played completely. I've already played it on stream. However, I played it on Steam when we played it on stream. And now the game is finally launched on Switch. It came out today as well, October 28th. And this game is only $4.99, and it is called The Legend of Santa. Honestly, I replayed the game on Switch. I played through all 3 worlds. It is a short game, but it is pretty fun. And I've got to say, the boss levels do kick up the difficulty quite a bit. So it's 2 hours if you do like straight playthrough and you don't die too much. But some people could have a little bit of problem with the boss levels and could have a more extended gameplay. But basically, if you've ever played Super Mario Bros. 3, the physics in this game feel exactly like Super Mario Bros. 3, but done over with a Christmas skin to it. Let's take a look at the trailer. It's not a very long one, but honestly, if you're looking for a short, sweet little game, I do think nonetheless this has some fun to deliver. And it's pure Super Mario Bros. 3 the whole time. You've got a few different power-ups as well. And honestly, the power-ups feel good. The new Halloween-themed levels are also a really nice addition. And I find that level design-wise, they have some of the most original ideas in the game. Like, a lot of the early levels, especially I would say the first world, felt very derivative of Super Mario Bros. 3, maybe a little too derivative. Like, nothing felt super new. But once you get to the third world, the Halloween world, almost every level I found had some very original mechanics. And it was a pretty fun experience. I don't know, because I was in contact with the developer a bit. I don't know if they still have other updates planned. I sort of hope they do, because I do think, like, if they could get to 5 worlds in future updates, I feel the game would feel extremely high value. I find that right now at $5 for how short the game is, it feels okay. But I think if you could add 1 or 2 more worlds, it would it would pump it up to awesome value. You know what I mean? Because if you could get that like 3 to 4 hour mark for $5, I mean, there are some action platformers out there that are $20 that offer you a good 4 to 5 hours, and people still love them. So I do think it is nonetheless a pretty interesting game for this week. Next, we have a game that unfortunately is extremely overpriced, but I still want to take a look at it because I've never played these games, and these are retro arcade games that I've never played, which doesn't happen too often. I have never played these. They are a Saturn tribute. It is called Wolfgang 2001 and Fang Saturn Tribute Boosted. We're going to take a look at the trailer. Is there a blurb to this one? Yes. Shoot 'em up fans, watch the trailer for the upcoming Switch collection Fang Saturn Tribute Boosted. It's out in Japan on October 31st, and we are getting it here as well on October 31st. So let's hit the thumbs up here. I forgot to do that. And let's watch the trailer. Only problem is it is seriously overpriced. Sorry, I forgot to say the price. It is $29.99 and $26.99 currently because there is a 10% sale right now. But $30 for 2 retro remakes, or retro ports, I would rather say, feels very overpriced. We're going to look at the gameplay. I just don't... I really think this collection should have launched at like $15 to $20 max. But let's still look at the gameplay. It's too bad because the gameplay looks extremely promising. Super excited when I watched the trailer. And it's right up my type of gameplay. Yes, I purposely did not cover it Canadian chick. Like, come on, it's arcade, mecha-based gameplay. Music, the music is great. Fang looks like an awesome shoot-'em-up. To be honest, I'm more excited about the first one, Wolfgang. But still, Fang seems like an awesome shoot-'em-up. Let me know how it is, Canadian chick. I didn't have high hopes. Yeah, the music is really good. I'm worried about copyright, so if you guys hear the music and I'm saying it's really good, just check out the trailer down below in the links if I have to mute it after. These are long trailers too. Why is the quality so garbage? Give me a second. Holy crap, what the hell? Wow. The trailers are maxing 360 quality though. That's why the trailer looks so grainy. Guys, that's not the screen, that's really just the trailer with a maximum 360 quality. Super loud. It's the same noise level as the other trailers. I'll put it down a bit just in case other trailers are recorded that loud. Yeah, it's 4:3. Yeah, exactly. But sometimes the trailer nonetheless can be in 760p and like, you know, be like letterboxed. The music was super loud. Sorry about that, guys. But 2 games. This is 2 games and it's $30. That's why I'm saying it's like overpriced. So, but nonetheless, I still think that the gameplay looks extremely promising. This is one, though, I would recommend waiting for a sale. They look awesome. I wanted to showcase them because the gameplay seems extremely interesting. When I saw it, I was super excited till I saw the price tag. I was okay, we're going to wait for this one. So I turned it down, though, nonetheless. All the other games might be a little quieter, but at least if another one pumps out, like at this level, it's not going to hurt anyone's ears. But overall, I still think if you are a fan of this, keep an eye out for a future sale. Most likely, I'll be covering it in eShop deals when it does happen. Okay, so now we move on to our third game for today, which is Shadows of the Damned Hella Remastered, which is also releasing on October 31st, and this one's going to be selling for $24.99. Now, this is the remake of a game of Shadow of the Damned. And honestly, my question with this one is the performance on the Switch. Because although it's the remake of an older game, it has also been remade for PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. So I'm worried a little bit about what the performance is going to be like on Switch. However, the gameplay is just over-the-top fun, which can be very promising. Let's take a quick look, and then we'll discuss once again what we just saw.
The bullet train is here, Hell Monkey.
By the way, Hotspur, how is your dear sweet?
Welcome to Gate. Thank you for the $1.91. Hey everyone, what's up? This one feels loud again, eh? I turned it down a bit though, so it shouldn't be too bad. It's like a crazy, like, third-person shooter. The gameplay just looks over the top. And once again, it's very rare, but it's another game that I have not played the original. It doesn't happen that often that there's a lot of games I haven't played like originals when we're talking about remakes. But this week it's going to be a recurring theme. Like, there's another series of games coming out this week that I actually haven't played the original. So I'm like super interested because it will be my first experience of the games. The music is pounding, man. I don't know, this music, the whole gameplay, man, I think it would give me, like, it would, like, I don't know, like, freak me out eventually. That drum beat, man, is, like, intense. I don't think we have any other gameplay after this, right? No. Okay, we can stop with the screaming now. There's maybe just a bit too much screaming though in the soundtrack, but yeah, Shadows of the Damned, $24.99. Look, the gameplay looks over the top insanity. If anyone out there in the comments wants to share what their experience was of the original, or if anyone in the chat does, I'd love to hear about it. I did not play the original, but just seeing this, I'm sort of wondering why the heck didn't I play the original? Because it looks, once again, like something that would be right up my alley, like gameplay-wise. Because although I'm a fan of retro-style games, I love playing 3D games, especially when they have like an over-the-top like type of gameplay like this. You know, love Devil May Cry, and this was giving me sort of the same types of vibes, but in a different gameplay style, like a third-person shooter rather than an action game. But overall, I still think this could be a high-potential game, but $24.99, once again, a little bit pricey for a remaster of a game that a lot of people haven't, like, I haven't heard that many people saying, like, oh yeah, I know what this game is. It looks awesome. but definitely one I think to keep on the radar for this week. Next, we have one game that I am extremely excited about because I'm a huge fan of the series. Now, this game is once again on October 31st, and it is Raiden Nova. So Raiden is one of a very long-running shoot 'em up series in like Japanese shoot 'em up series. Well, this is a different take. It is in the Raiden series, but they have reimagined the Raiden franchise as a twin stick shooter. And you know I love my twin stick shooters as well. So I'm actually super excited to try this one out. Raiden Unite gets ready to blast into a thrilling new dimension like never before. The legendary vertical scrolling shooter Raiden is reborn as a thrilling twin stick 2D shooter. Freely aim and shoot with dual sticks, dodging bullets from every direction. Level up to unlock a variety of weapons and enhancements, and upgrade your ship to fight your way through epic battles. Now, this one, once again, like I said, releasing on October 31st. However, once again, it is a pricey sales tag at $29.99, currently with a 10% discount, so $26.99. However, just to let you know, the Raiden franchise generally launches at more expensive than this, so this is actually a cheaper release for them because most likely it's a new reimagining of the series. But let's take a look at it, and you guys can tell me what you think of the trailer as well. Like, the visuals still scream Raiden. If you've played like Raiden like 3 through 5, that are also available on the Switch. Now I'm going to think there is a couple of things that do worry me. When I say worry, I just mean Raiden is such a long-running shoot 'em up franchise, and I think they're one of the staples in the genre, and I think they are often a measuring stick for a lot of other games also in the genre. Now, I'm not saying that Raiden is the best. I'm just saying that there is such a long-running. It's like sort of the measuring stick where are you better than Raiden or are you weaker than Raiden? And Raiden is like sort of the expectation that you get, okay? What, however, worries me is that because they are such a recognized franchise in that genre and that measuring line, to jump into the twin stick shooter genre, that they're sort of starting with like they're late to that genre. Like, the twin stick shooter genre has been around for so many years now and been perfected by so many games that for a series that is so long running to only do the jump now to trying out that genre, I feel like they're starting with like, they're like late to the party a bit. Exactly. Raiden and Gradius are the standards for the genre for a lot of people. If you don't like, so I'm just hoping that because they're starting like from a rear position, like a late to the party position, is they have to bring something new. It's not going to be enough just to be good and be like as good as the others. If they don't bring something new and do something better, they're sort of letting you down. If you understand, because they're such a trailblazer for shoot 'em ups that if they don't trailblaze twin stick shooters, you're better off just not jumping into the genre, because you're going to be letting your longtime fans down that are expecting something mind-blowing and something new from you. So that is where I'm just a bit worried, where good isn't going to be good enough. It has to be great, because they are great in their genre. You know, it's like if FromSoft launches into a new genre, it's not enough to just put out a decent game. It has to be a great game, because or else everyone's going to be disappointed, because we're so used to getting great games from them. So even if it's outside of your genre, you can't allow yourself to put out a okay game, if that makes any sense. That's my vision. That's my worry here. So my worry isn't about the game itself. My worry is the game going to be good enough for the legacy that Raiden has? And I'm a huge shoot 'em up fan as well. I know I'm saying like I'm a fan of a lot of genres, but I am a fan of a lot of genres. And just by coincidence, this week we're getting a lot of games in genres that I play a lot of. Okay. So we have a few more games left for October 31st. October 31st is really the big launch day for this week. It's normal. A lot of people are trying to cash in on the Halloween vibes. Our next one is going to be WORMHOLE. And I actually have the Nintendo Switch. This is the Canadian price. So don't look at this price. It's actually $9.99 in the US. And it's currently on sale for $8.99. The reason why I have here is because I could not find the trailer on YouTube, but the trailer is on the eShop itself. So we're going to be watching the trailer directly from the eShop. But basically, WORMHOLE, let's read the little blurb here on the eShop. I forgot that because I'm used to doing it at the video. In WORMHOLE, you're a giant space worm eating, shooting, dashing, and exploding your way through the cosmos. Warp through wormholes to navigate obstacles, refill your energy, and quickly find your next meal. This adrenaline-fueled arcade action game features galaxies to consume, a stackable perk system, worms with cowboy hats, and a spooky chiptune soundtrack ripped straight from Dracula's tape deck. So, 100 handcrafted level, 3 unique abilities, each with your own playstyle and a variety of stackable perks, over 60 unlockable color palettes, and a high-energy retro-inspired chiptune soundtrack. And honestly, the gameplay seems very promising here, especially considering that it's from a more budget perspective. And it's an evolution of the Snake game, okay? It goes way beyond it, but to begin with, it's an evolution of that oh-so-classic Snake game that we probably... Anyone who's born before 1990 has definitely played at one point on a computer somewhere, and most likely even people born after that have at least seen it. Yeah, it's the Snake game from Nokia phones. I'll check it out then. If Care Bears you say could be pretty decent, I'll check it out. I'm not sure if it's $10 on Switch as well, but I'll take a look.
Eat 'em all.
A little loud again. I'm sorry. Seem to be having trouble with the volume control tonight. Gonna hit it even a little lower. I'd rather the music be a little lower. That it especially overshadow my voice if I do want to make a few comments. But overall, soundtrack looks really, really good. And the gameplay seems to be doing just enough to really evolve the whole the snake game concept. And the levels seem diverse enough where you're never going to feel like you're actually playing just a snake game. So I do feel like this is doing enough here. The visual monochrome style as well sort of really works well with the style of gameplay. So overall, I think we have something really interesting here with WORMHOLE, and especially the fact that it's releasing at like a budget $9.99 price tag. Because like I said, don't forget the price tag on the screen. That's just because I'm on the Canadian eShop here. Just because even when I try to use the US one, it kicks me to Canada unless I use my VPN, and the VPN causes issues when I'm streaming. So yeah, that was a no-go for this. That's also why I try to not watch trailers on the eShop, but we're actually gonna have to do it twice tonight. So a lot of coincidences tonight. But WORMHOLE coming out on October 31st, I think is a fun option. Now, we are talking Halloween, okay, guys? So I did try to find at least a couple of horror games that seemed interesting. Now, the problem is a lot of the horror games this year seemed trashy. Because I don't count like the Retro Realms games as horror games because they're 2D action platformers. To me, it's not going to scare anyone. But I'm talking about the horror games. There were a lot. But I tried to go through them, and I found two that I think have potential to be pretty decent games. I combined information on the trailers, information on whether the games were out on Steam already or not, and what type of reviews it got on Steam, and overall the vibes I got from the game. Now, this does not mean that these games will definitely be excellent games. I just think that if you are looking for a horror game on Halloween, these are the two less known games that would have maybe the highest chance of being some pretty decent releases. So our first one is going to be Self-Delusion, which is releasing on October 31st. It sells for $14.99, and it has no blurb down below. So let's take a look at Self-Delusion release trailer, and I'll give you my thoughts.
Fairy tales from childhood. Tales about Gullible, Lashy, Bogger, and other harmless characters. Well, don't tell it yourself. That all was a lie. What the hell is it?
So I found this one was giving
When
pretty
I decided
decent
to visit
vibes.
my mother, it turned out that the house was taken over by evil creatures who certainly didn't belong here. Danger is lurking in every room, and bloodthirsty Lapotis crawling under my feet. Every hour, there come more and more monsters. But if they expect I will surrender and run away, they are wrong.
So the game seemed to have enough interesting visuals that I was like, the Patrick Star game was a horror game, you're right. But was horrible in a different way. So I found this one had enough visuals, and it seemed to have some interesting like chase-like sequences where for a $14.99 game, if you're looking for a new horror game that you've never played before, so you sort of don't know the story, you don't know what's going on, seemed to have some potential. Now, Steam, it had some really good Steam reviews, but there were not a lot of Steam reviews. There were like something like 50 or 60 Steam reviews. And I just want to warn, the reason why it's hard to trust Steam reviews when there's such a low amount is that it's really easy as a developer to get review keys for Steam, to give them to a bunch of your friends and tell your friends to all give you like 9 or 10 out of 10s. So it is possible that like the 50 people that played the game all know the developer and gave them pretty decent reviews. You understand? Which is less the case if the game has like 1,000 reviews. Especially for smaller developers, like for them to get or buy 1,000 review keys would be highly unlikely, just to sort of boost the score of their game. But 50, you could be in that type of scenario. But at the same time, it's not only like 3 or 4 reviews, so it could also be that the game does have some pretty interesting offerings for the price they're selling it at. So Self-Delusion, coming out on October 31st. It's sort of a long shot, but out of all the horror games, because there were a lot, and there were a lot that looked bad, I do think this one looked slightly to have potential. Now, the other one is also October 31st. It's more expensive, however. It is $24.99, and it is The Beast Inside. Now, I would say that this is probably the highest potential one out of the two. So let's take a look at the trailer. Do we have a little blurb here? Yeah. Okay, sorry. In The Beast Inside, play as Adam and Nicholas, pitted against each other to uncover the dark truth and conquer the evil that binds them together. Who will win and who will perish and be forgotten? So let's take a look at the trailer. And like I said, this one, however, seems to have higher
really
potential,
doing
but
this?
also higher price tag.
Moving so far away from civilization to be the man who will turn the tide of war when everything else fails. Millions of lives are at stake. And I have to save them, finish my work, break the code before it breaks me. Time is not on my side. Determination means everything now. For too long I've been misled, but the answer was there, right in front of me.
Like already you can see that the visuals are much cleaner here than the previous game. So yes, it's more expensive, but I think the production values are higher as well. It's very dark, however. Like sometimes it's really hard. Like it's obviously purposeful. Like it's made on purpose so that you never see exactly what's around you. But I think that if you're looking for like a scary horror game to take a chance on and you don't mind spending like $25, The Beast Inside does have maybe more potential. Once again, though, please take it with a grain of salt because I sort of forced myself to find 2 horror games that I found had potential. But if we were just in a normal week, I'm not sure I would have highlighted these games. This one, however, has very positive Steam reviews and there are over 1,000 reviews. But it is coming from a bigger studio, so once again, it can be taken with a slight grain of salt. Also, how is it going to run on the Switch is always a question to be asked. You might want to wait for, like, to see if anyone has a review out maybe a day early or something like that. It could happen for these games. I looked at Clock Tower. I wasn't impressed, unfortunately, to be honest, Champ Thatcher. I did look at it. I just was like, we have so many other games to look at for this week. It sort of didn't make the cut for me. Okay, now we're going to talk about the other game series that has ports or remakes that are coming to Nintendo Switch that I have never played, the S.T.A.L.K.E.R Trilogy. Now, a lot of people said that there's some of these games that are pretty goddamn good, and I've never played the S.T.A.L.K.E.R Trilogy. But yes, all 3 games are coming to Switch on October 31st, and they're going to be sold for $20 a piece. So you have S.T.A.L.K.E.R Call of Pripyat, or Pripyat. I'm not sure if you're the way to pronounce the I. Shadow of Chernobyl and Clear Sky. And so S.T.A.L.K.E.R Shadow of Chernobyl and S.T.A.L.K.E.R Clear Sky. Now, this is a trilogy of games that a lot of people apparently are very excited for on the Nintendo Switch. Oddly, I haven't played the original games. Never really attracted me back in the day. But looking at the trailers now, you know what? I may be interested to dive in and see if it couldn't be something that is going to be fun to play through. So let's take a look at the trailer. It's a very short 30-second trailer. Really just gives us a general overview. So let's take a quick look. And that is it. So we don't get a lot. And honestly, I am really worried. Well, worried. I'm really wondering about performance on the Nintendo Switch. Because first-person shooters, especially when they have like a realistic type setting, yeah, they're first-person shooters from what I can see. And see, and I read up a bit on them because when I don't know the series and they're like the Legendary series is coming to Switch, I was like, Legendary series? And look, I know when I read up, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, people really were playing these games a lot, but I don't know. I just never got into the series apparently, or the series never caught my eye back in the day. But I definitely wanted to highlight that they're releasing this week, because if you are a fan of the original S.T.A.L.K.E.R games, I think a lot of people are going to be interested. I am just worried about performance on the Switch, because a lot of these FPS ports, they have to be done well to really get some quality gameplay out of them. But if they are well ported, I do think this could be a nice addition to the Nintendo Switch collection. On top of it, they seem to have very bleak, somber looks to them, which fit in with the Halloween type of season and everything. So I can see why they chose also October 31st to release the trilogy. So S.T.A.L.K.E.R, but $20 a piece. I'm just going to give my 2 cents. Feels expensive. Not going to lie, $60 for all 3 games feels expensive given how old they are. But at the same time, I mean, we've had worse remakes or ports to the Switch than that, price-wise. So it isn't awful pricing. It just seems a little bit expensive. Okay, so S.T.A.L.K.E.R Trilogy, either you're going to be a fan or you're not. I think you're gonna be able to answer that question for yourself. Now, we're going to finish up with October 31st, with one more game, which is a indie game that has me very interested. I'm really liking the gameplay I'm seeing from the trailer. It has a sales price of $14.99, and it also has a downloadable demo on the eShop. And I'm going to say a free downloadable demo to trigger, I think it's Champ Dancer that always asks me, what's not a free demo? And but yes, a free downloadable demo on the Nintendo Switch eShop. And when a game offers a demo, I always have a tendency to believe that the game most likely is good, because very rarely do games put out demos that suck. Because if your game sucks, why would you put out a demo so that someone knows it sucks before they buy it? That is my thinking. So I always have a sort of predilection that if the game has a demo, I am leaning towards believing that the game is most likely going to be a pretty decent offering. But not only that, I watched the trailer. Trailer seemed very promising. So they are promising free updates. Obviously, the basis of the game is like a roguelike action game. I'm getting sort of like Mega Man-ish vibes from parts of it. The one thing I'm just going to say, and it's just a general comment, I'm starting to get a little bit over saturated with roguelikes, okay? Just because I feel like a lot of games are seeming to take it like the easy way out to offering like replayability rather than having to design levels. And I'm not saying this game is doing this specifically. It's just a general comment right now. A lot of games are coming out as roguelikes that I do feel like some games, it has to be properly dosed. And it has to be fitting with the overall gameplay. This could work out pretty decent. But I don't want to lose like crafted levels. I'm a person that I like playing roguelikes, but I like playing my crafted level games as well. And there's a beauty to both styles of gameplay. So I just hope like developers eventually start tending back towards the crafted levels as well from time to time in their games, and not everyone just jumps into the roguelike genre, because yes, it's very easy to get a high level of replayability from the game, but I think there's that personal touch that gets lost in some of these gameplays. There's games that make it work perfectly like Hades, and there's others where it feels like phoned in a bit, especially when there isn't a high level of variety between the levels. At that point, it just feels like, oh, okay. Rather than crafting like 50 really good levels, they crafted like 12 levels that sort of get reorganized. And it's sort of, you know, easier than crafting 50 really good levels. But Astral Flux seems to have a ton of potential. The price feels pretty good at $14.99, but they're entering a very saturated market, the roguelike market. So they really, like, the game has to deliver to really be worth investing a lot of time into it. But yes, I do agree, looks pretty decent. And the roguelike comment was not directly directed to this game. It's just a general comment that I've been feeling for a while now, where I'm like, sometimes it feels forced in. And next on November 1st, we have Farmagia, which is coming to us from Marvelous. So I have a tendency to believe that Marvelous generally puts out some pretty solid games. Now this one, however, is going to be a full, like almost full-priced release. The base game is $49.99. The digital deluxe is $59.99. And I think the best way to... Did they put a blurb here? Let me just see. Yeah, so it's basically a brand new adventure full of frantic monster combat and rewarding farming simulation. So it is a farming / adventure game, but it actually seems done in a different way than usual, which actually could turn out to be a ton of fun. So let's take a look at it. The only thing here is it's a full-priced release, but at the same time, as you'll see from the trailer, it is a very quality production.
Enter the underworld nation of Felicidad, separate from heaven and the human realm. In Felicidad, generals known as the Oración Seis rule each continent, and the Magus reigns over the Oración Seis and the entirety of Felicidad. But now, the Magus has died.
With the death of my predecessor, many of us have lost our way. Discipline yourselves and follow me. I shall usher our world into a grand paradise.
There are oppressive rulers, and those who stand against them.
Glaza's intentions are cruel. He plans to create a ruling class through a process of elimination. I won't allow that to happen.
This is the one where we thought it could combine all the monsters. It was in one of the Nintendo Directs. I'm pretty sure this is the one.
Felicidad, a world where people and monsters coexist in harmony.
Oh, this was the long
Here,
trailer, right?
farmers
Yeah,
who
it's
raise and command monsters are known as Farmagia. These monster tamers serve as the pillars of society. You will plow your field, sow your seeds, water your crops, and harvest new buddies to join your adventure. Train your
Yeah, this is the
harvester
one.
buddies at your ranch
Exactly.
and lead them into battle.
Let's go!
Command your buddies to defeat enemies and seek out epic boss battles.
And you see, you're going to be able to combine them into bigger monsters.
Take on the oppressors that stand in your way and liberate Felicidad.
Offer up your flesh.
Prostrate yourselves before my beauty.
The power of a Reaper! If you want to protect something, you gotta fight for it!
Let the melody of madness ring!
I shall show them the folly of their insurrection. They shall learn the hard way.
Stop right there, Glaza. That's as far as you're gonna go.
Then I want no part of it!
Wipe this whole
Begging you, back to us!
Command legions of monsters and become a Farmagia.
A Farmagia.
Coming
I'm
November
like
1st.
Farmagia, like, but it's a Farmagia. So that is coming out on December 1st. It is a bigger release for this week. I think, honestly, it's one of the first monster tamers that has me actually somewhat interested, because Marvelous did the whatchamacallit 101 oh my god, why do I have a blank now? It's always like that when I want to say the title of a game. The Wonderful 101. And basically, it seems like it's almost borrowing mechanics from Wonderful 101, combining them with the monster taming sort of genre, and mixing in farming elements. The only thing is, like, growing monsters like that, we've actually saw that before in, like, that pixel art game that released in bad shape but was really built up later. I have a blank once again on the name, but I often feature it on eShop deals because at $5 it's like an excellent pickup. So it's just funny because it's reusing these mechanics that we've seen in other games, but doing them better. Doing them better. The one thing is, like, the $60 price tag feels a little expensive with all the games coming out right now. Like, if this was coming out in the month of, like, April or March or February, like, maybe not next year with Switch 2, but, like, a normal March, February, April, this seems like a really interesting game to drop $60 on. It's just currently, with the landscape, it's hard. It's, like, hard to just say, like, yes, I want to drop $60 on this now. Or maybe I'm gonna wait till January or like you know, holiday sales, and maybe I'll be able to pick this thing up for $30. You know what I mean? Because I do think that if the game doesn't sell amazing after Christmas, we're gonna see this one on sale already. I do feel that. I do feel they're gonna try to, like, push sales with it pretty quick if the game doesn't sell amazing right off the go. But yeah, Farmagia, I think, is one to keep an eye on. If you are a fan of the monster tamer genre, I do think this is going to be a very good one. I do think it's going to have more of an action perspective to it. Like, there's going to be an RPG perspective, but if you want my feeling, it feels like it's going to borrow mechanics from Wonderful 101 that has a very action-forward perspective. So I feel the battles are going to be fast-paced and action-oriented. Okay, we have one more game for this week. And this is a game coming out also on November 1st. This is, once again, not the right price because this is the Canadian eShop. We have Aero the Acro-Bat, Rascal Rival Revenge, that is coming out on November 1st and will be selling for $5.99. Now, I played Aero the Acro-Bat 1 on stream. We talked about the second one when it released. Well, this is the third release in the grouping, and this is the Game Boy Advanced remake of the first game. It is probably the better version of Aero the Acro-Bat, to be honest. So if you did like the other two, or if you haven't picked up the other two but you were interested in, it might actually be a not so bad idea to start with this one. But let's take a look. Like I said, it's the port of the Game Boy Advanced version of Aero the Acro-Bat. The first one I finished by putting infinite lives. But yes, I did finish the first one. I finished it by putting infinite lives on. I think I streamed it that way, like where we had infinite continues. So we have Aero the Acro-Bat, Rascal Rival Revenge. Now, the one thing I'm going to say about this one is I do feel they should have released it as a collection rather than each one of the 3 games separately. Did I give the price? I think I did. It's $5.99. Like I said, this is the Canadian price. Do not look at the screen for the price. The US price is $5.99. But I do think that they should have released the 3 games as a collection rather than releasing them each one by one. Like, I think they could have done like a $10 collection with all 3 of them in there, or even maybe a $15 collection with all 3 of them in there. And I think they would have been better served that way. And I think especially for these retro games, people are now expecting like little collections. Like the Castlevania collections, the different ones and whatnot. So I do feel that the one marketing thing that they did that's weird is releasing them all one by one rather than a collection of all 3. But who knows, they might release separately a collection of all 3. It just felt weird that they released them like that, staggered, like almost like a month apart, each one of the 3 games. But it's a retro series. The only thing is there are some weird controls to the game. So if you've never played Aero the Acro-Bat before, you can watch my stream. I talk about it and I give examples. But the control scheme is a little weird on the game. But once you get used to it, the game actually plays pretty decent. And it's a really fun throwback retro platformer. I wouldn't say it's on the level of Sonic or those, but it is like a B tier of that generation of platformers. So there we have it. This week's new Nintendo Switch games that really, caught my attention. As I say, it's not an exhaustive list. It is not all the games coming out this week. I've actually skipped quite a few that seemed lackluster. But these are the games I think that definitely stood out for this week. Now, I do also want to mention that next week's list is going to have a lot of bigger games on it. So if you do want to get your wallet ready, I would be careful on this end because next week's going to have a lot of more expensive games on it. And we're going to really get into that final holiday push next week. Start of that holiday push, because I'll be honest, it goes through November. It's going to quiet down in the last week of November, first week of December. It quiets back down, but we're going to have like 2 or 3 back-to-back pretty intense weeks coming up.